Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how you can grow your traffic by blogging less. It seems counterintuitive, right? Doesn't it seem like you publish more and more content all the time? It's supposed to help. But if you think about it, we've shared the stats before. WordPress alone, and this is a 1+ year old stat, over 2 million blog posts are being published every single day. So how can you possibly stand out? That's the key. Here's an example. Our mutual friend Brian Dean, or Backlinko, he has a site that gets, let's just call it over 140,000 visits a month, right? Something like that. And he's only got 30 blog posts on it. So it's not a volume play for him. It's a quality play. And he even wrote this, one of his blog posts on there. It's a skyscraper technique. It's just writing blog posts that stand out from the rest. But let's even forget about blog posts for a second. How do you create content that stands out from the rest and take it even beyond that? That's one step that you can even take it beyond this podcast episode.
Yeah, so Eric got it right. And Backlinko was one of the early adopters of this model of blog less, generate more traffic. And the methodology is quite simple, in which you look at all the popular content that your competition create, and you can use Ahrefs or BuzzSumo to do this. Once you have an idea of what's working for them and what's popular, you create something that's 10 times better. Once you create something that's 10 times better, people are less likely to copy you just because it's so in-depth, they're too lazy, it's too expensive. Once you have that down, then you spend 80% of the time promoting it. So if you spend 2 hours writing it, you want to spend 8 hours promoting it. That means you want to reach out to every single person who linked out to the competition. Ask them to link to your post. You reach out to every single person who shared that competing article on Twitter. Ask them to share yours. You look at every single person you link to within your blog post, and you ask them or you email them, telling them how you mentioned them and ask them if they would share it on their favorite social network. But by spending the majority of your time promoting, and it's shocking, everyone believes like, oh no, if I just send out emails and ask people to share my content or a link, they're going to ignore me. Yeah, most people do ignore you because your content sucks. But if you took the time to write a super in-depth, high-quality article, people won't ignore you because they'll appreciate the time and effort you spent creating that piece of content.
You know, I remember in the beginning when I was doing content marketing, I would message you, I would message Heaton as well, and I'd ask them for feedback, right? And I had this expectation that I deserved to get a lot more traffic in the beginning. And I think a lot of people think that, oh, just because you do it for 3 months or 6 months or so, that you're entitled to get more traffic. And it actually takes a lot longer than that, and you're not entitled to anything. So remove the expectations. But the more of a beginner you are, the more that you don't really know anybody, the more you have to promote. Neil talked about 80%. In some cases, we've even said that maybe it's 95% of your time going into promoting because nobody knows who you are. You've got to add more value. Maybe you build relationships first instead of asking them for something, and you're going to have an easier time doing that. So think about, especially in the beginning, how much more can you give to other people than you can get? And then as long as you keep deferring over time, things are going to work out for you.
Yeah, and I remember Mark Suster from both sides of the table. He's a VC in LA. Every time he would write a blog post, he would just ping all his friends and ask them to share it on Twitter. Worked. He spent a lot of time promoting the content. He probably spent more time promoting it than he did writing it and asking for tweets. And I remember there was a point where he was just like, hey, sorry for bugging you, because he would ask multiple times, in a month. And it got to a point where we didn't care, but he was just like, hey, let me know if I can do anything for you, right? And that's the key. You should also try to reciprocate. We probably didn't take him up on that offer, but you get the point of just asking people and continually pushing and promoting. That's where it is. Everyone believes it's about creating the most amount of content, but if no one reads it, it's not going to rank.
Actually, Neil brings up a really good point too, because if I know that Mark Suster is really interested in investments around AI or whatever, and I want to get within his purview, I can just reach out and say, hey, like Mark, I know you're really into AI right now. There's a couple of things I'm seeing right here. Look, there's nothing in it for me. I just want to pass this over to you. Are you interested in some intros? Right? This is how I might talk to a VC, for example, and then you build a relationship that way. Now, with Neil and I, for example, now that we have a relationship, it's much easier for me to ask him for things, and it goes much more beyond like a link or like a tweet. So think about how you can like target, maybe there's like a dream 50 or dream 100 people that you want to get around, and then you can start to build relationships that way. And then I would encourage you to eventually build some of those into in-person relationships, and then you've got much more leverage and you're not just this online personality, because as Neil and I have talked about, like a lot of stuff gets done offline because we're human beings and we're social creatures.
Yep. Cool. That's it. I don't have anything else from mine.
Yeah, that is it for today. But if you'd like to see us do a live free event in Los Angeles, we're aiming for Q1, Q2 of 2019. We are aiming to get to 1 million downloads over a 30-day period. Right now, I think last month we got like 760,000 or so. So 1 million downloads. And we need your help getting there. So go to marketingschool.io/stats, that's with an S. And what we need you to do is to rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, share the love. You might not think it helps. I guarantee you it helps. Everybody makes a difference here.
We appreciate it too.
All right, that is it for today. Please go do it. Please, I'm begging you on the YouTube video right now. And we'll see you tomorrow.